It's good to be with all of you. My name is Father Adam Droll. I'm a priest in Abilene right now, and I'm filling in for Father Josh for Latin Mass this weekend and next weekend because he's in Portugal for World Youth Day. So God bless him, Purse, for all of those events going on. And this gospel reading that we've got in particular is pretty fun. I don't know if maybe you guys aren't on Facebook or on meme culture or all this other stuff, but one of my favorite Catholic memes is Jesus flipping tables and it basically saying like, okay, well then this is a legitimate option. That's what's going on in this gospel. He goes in the temple and he cleanses it. And I mean, on one sense, I get it. It's funny. It's all that stuff. But how does Jesus get away with that? Because if I went into somebody else's church, if I came into St. Margaret's here and started flipping tables, I should probably rightly so be thrown out. And yet the last line of the gospel here today says, and every day he was teaching in the temple area. They didn't get rid of him. And if you look at John's gospel that has the same story in it, in John chapter 2, the scribes and Pharisees go up to him and ask him, what do you mean by this? So there's a lot more going on than just Jesus was upset and he went in and started flipping tables. Jesus does things with all intentionality. And so before he goes to the temple, he's weeping over Jerusalem and just saying like all of the terrible things that are going to be done, but if only that we were ready for all of these things. And then he goes out and cleanses the temple and all that. The point I'm trying to make by bringing up all of this is to say that Jesus was doing this as a prophetic action, first of all, because otherwise everybody looking at him would have, again, rightly thrown him out of the temple because he must be losing his mind. But he's cleansing the temple to try to teach something. And if you know anything about the prophets in the Old Testament, they did lots of weird things to try to make a point. So Jesus is doing a weird thing by flipping tables and saying, my Father's house is a house of prayer and you've made it a den of thieves. There's people like Jeremiah, who is called by God to bury underwear and then go dig it up again and then see that it had all rotted out and say, this is how the house of Israel is like now. Okay, so prophets do weird things to grab the attention of the people because we're asleep. We don't realize that we're just kind of coasting through life. And so the prophets, who are these impassioned followers of God, want to show us that we're asleep. And the reason that Jesus does anything that he does, whether he says that, we're putting condemnation on ourselves here, or that he would start flipping these tables and all these things, is done out of love. Because he doesn't want our destruction. And he wants us to realize that we need to make sure that our focus is on the Lord and not on any other number of things that want to distract us from intention on him. So as we go through life, I think it's worthwhile to really kind of keep asking those things. I might get angry at situations, all sorts of situations I can get upset on. And Jesus could get just as upset watching us walk to destruction sometimes. But what ultimately matters is whatever comes out of my mouth or whatever actions I do, am I doing them out of love? When I correct somebody, is it out of that place of frustration or is it out of love? Because I think that's why Jesus flipped tables. Not because he was angry, but because he loves.